Welcome to another weekly highlight for my new Twitch series. And weekly highlight. Well, I started this series a couple of weeks ago, and that means there will be a weekly highlight today and on Monday, and then we'll be back to only doing it on Mondays. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't put too much into one of these updates, but also make sure that we covered a lot of ground. So this is where we left off at the end of the previous update, was basically the introduction. What we have here is we have our first little factory here that takes care of some mining, and you can see sort of the essence of what this series will be about. It'll be about having a limited amount of drones that will take care of our mining and using them in the wisest possible way, combining it with these factory buildings and then trying to build with research that is 10 times more expensive than it usually is. So things will be slow and methodical, and on top of the part about our limited drones, then this will be quite a challenge. One of the first things we really want to do at this junction is start moving some of the things into some more structured ways. So first things will be making the science labs into some structured way of making science labs. And we also want to make sure that we can do some green circuits. And then because I decided to start with cliffs on, because, well, I wanted just to have a challenge, and I wanted that sort of, frustration there. Then we also need to get started on the oil part. And you can see we are researching towards the oil and getting all the way focusing on the cliff explosives. So what I'm going to do is I am going to jump forward to the end of the next stream, and then we can take a look at what has been built from in the next stream. And that's kind of how we're going to progress in this kind of highlight. So I'm going to highlight what are the things so you're all caught up, and then you can join over on Twitch, where I'm streaming it Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. And the link is in the description below, but it's also, of course, Twitch TV/Nilaus. So if you drop by the way, then you're very welcome to say hi. You're also very welcome to lurk, but you're very welcome to say hi. And I got here from YouTube. It's always nice to know that we managed to recruit some people over there. Anyway, let's phase forward to the next episode. And here we are. We can see that the base has grown. There's a few more names out here being setting up future mining locations. That is absolutely phenomenal. We have done a few things. You can see here there are more factories on the map, and that's what we're going to be walking through. So what we have here is just a copper mining and a copper mining as well. These could each take a full yellow belt, and then we then produce a full yellow belt, but that's unfortunately not the case because I just simply cannot mine it fast enough. They go into this one, which will be, and you can see there's a lack of light. There will be more light. That's a research that we're working on. This one, this is where you can really see this is where the expensive recipes comes in. Each of these will take now 4 copper, so you need like a ton of these to keep it up. And all of this thing, now I'm going to use rate calculator just to get a sense of it. All of this is only doing 9 per second, but even if it was, in order to get 9, we'd have to get more than 1 built in and more than 2 built in. So it's actually more like 7.5. Yeah, 7.5. We're producing at maximum 7.5, and that would be assuming that we get 2 full belts in, and we're not. So you can see green circuits are very much in high demand. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting it in here because, well, I just want to work through this. One of the things about this series that is kind of weird is that I want to really strip mine the base. I want to get as much mining. I don't want these to be idle. I want them to always work because we have them. So if they're sitting like this, then they're idle. They're not consuming the resources. They're not working. And since there's a constraint here on how many we can actually have, then it's wasteful if they're not doing anything. So that's why I'm doing this and just putting it into a box, because I know that with this slow production of green circuits, we will absolutely need to get more. Let's cut a brief glance. This is something we are starting to work on. I don't think I've built anything in here yet. No, I'm just trying to get to the next part. It's basically like taking stuff out of this one. And the first thing I took out was just making some science labs. Let's have a look. So here we have some science labs. It's a pretty clever setup. Thank you, Jeff. Here we go. They come in here. This is designed for 4 sciences. So if your question is, what about the purple and yellow science? My answer is, I don't care about it yet. I just don't care about it. It's so far in the future that it doesn't matter. We build it for the 4 sciences that will be happening for the next, I don't know, 50 hours, and then we can deal with it later for another design for the end game. This is super happy. This is awesome. I'm happy about it. And we have, of course, 2 of those. They are way over consuming what we can provide. So that's still something. And I will just move myself all the way over to the other side. And while we do that, let's talk a bit about what I want to do. So you had a look at this one. This one was just setting up red and green. And that's going to be one of the next things. So we want to automate red and green at a very high rate. And here, unfortunately, we don't have indicators on these buildings yet, but that was something we will get. What we can see, and here, there. This is like a complete build that takes oil and water in and coal, and then also gets this one for my car when we get that one. And then it gets the sulfur out, which we will use later on for blue science and also for batteries. And also some explosives. The explosives is what we need for getting rid of those pesky cliffs. So that's something I've been rushing here. Again, this one is kind of the same. Also taking oil in, doing the basic refinery, and then making a lot of solid fuel. Solid fuel, the reason why I'm using solid fuel for my mining is because alternative is coal. Coal needs to be mined with these little drones. So that means I'm going to be spending drones on getting the power. Although if I do it here, then I'm not spending any drones. And so for me, anything that I can fuel using oil is going to save on my drones, because drones are really the core thing that we are running out of here. So this is already now a slight step up, but you can also see this is 4 hours of progress. Things are not moving fast and research is not moving fast. We're still only working our way through the red and green science. And the next thing we want to do is get started on first automating the red and green science, and then from there on maybe working towards military science. Because if we look at the surroundings, although our pollution cloud is not that big, we have expanding biters, and they will get closer, as well as this one will push out. And we don't have any walls, so that's we have an open base, so I need to make sure that the biters are not inside my pollution cloud. And they are evolving. Can I do an evolution? Evolution. There, it is at 32%. So I have medium biters at 50. I'll get the blue biters, and they're gonna be tough. For that, we definitely need to have the better ammo, the red ammo in production. Now let's jump over to the next one and see what we progressed in the next live stream. Here we are. We can see that the base is definitely growing. Some of the things are the same. This area up here, nothing has changed here. The only thing that's done is I've set one more up, and now we can see from the overlay I can set up some indicators of what is in each of these. This one is also good, and this is just keeps going, just consuming as much copper as we can, just gradually taking this out. Our number of drones has increased to 102, so we have more drones. Let's start. I'm gonna pick you up because we're gonna need you in a bit, but first we have to just walk around us. You can see here now we are seriously consuming a lot of iron here, and that will probably drain this pretty quickly. 69,000. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 locations, and they will be going in. You can see this is working towards the red and green science. We have 2 of these because this is also a dreadful thing. I started building this, and then I realized that it would take 4 full belts inbound. This one, if I was to do it, could actually produce 2 full belts out, which is absolutely insane. So I'm going to... What? That seems weird. Yeah, okay. That's kind of a lot of inbound. That's too many belts to even count. Yeah, so this part here, that one, is actually able to take a full red belt inbound, which obviously is a bit more than I can do at this point. So this could take 4 red belts and provide 1 red belt out. It's crazy how much iron is needed. So this is really about scaling up the mining, scaling up, getting this going. And then we have all the 3 things we need into this one. This is super compact, and I'm really happy about it. We just managed to sort of wrangle it in here. We saw that there's exactly room for 10 on this side, and then we have the remaining space for the greens. This is looking really good, and yeah, it's working as it should. Nothing more to that than this. This will produce This is 1 per second, 2, 3, 4, and then the crafting speed. So this is 3 per second plus 3 per second. So that's always going to be our baseline for the science design. I want 3 science per second, so I'm basically designing it towards 4, and then the crafting speed will make it 3 per second. And now I have 3 of these, and I don't have landfills, so this one has to be awful right now. We're also starting the production of military or piercing rounds. The reason for that is because I do feel that we might need it very soon. I am going to go here. Let's get that one. Let's go through this. This is nanobots. This is termites. If you have not seen this before, these are excellent at clearing forests. They cost resources, so that's the trade-off. But yeah, we want to get those forests out. This is one of the new designs we're working on here. What the purpose of this design is, it's going to be military science, and it also starts highlighting the way I want to design or build this base. I'll build these small clusters. This is a small cluster for green, this is a small cluster for oil, this is a small cluster for red and green science, and then we'll make a small cluster for the military science, and then only bring the aggregate, like the military science, all the way back again. But then we'll have all of this area where we can start tapping the iron, the coal, the copper, and the stone. And then we can build it there. And once we start draining this, we'll have to find new solutions and new locations. But I think that this base, unlike the other ones, it'll not be a big sprawling base, but for 2 different reasons. Everything is contained, or most of the things are contained inside the bases here. And the other thing is that I don't have to sort of progressively move further out to find more resources, because resources will hopefully continue to spawn as part of the hype train mechanic in the Twitch chat, so that it'll still spawn inside and around my base, and sometimes it'll destroy my base, but it hasn't happened yet. But then it means that we'll probably just not really use much more space than what we can see here. Maybe for oil though, but we do have quite a bit of oil available, so that's pretty good. You can also see that I spent the time on clearing out the biters here, so that we don't have anyone inside our area. But we're starting to get the issue that all the way down here it starts going outside of our vision range, or getting close to the vision range, and that's going to be a problem. We are going to jump forward again and just figure out what the next things we work on. Of course, we started the military. Let's have a look at what the military it will look like once it is done, and then let's take a look at that. So here we have the base. We have done further expansion. You can see that in this location we have an extension. We've also taken out something here, and we built some new things down here, and we're going to start up here with the military science that we started working on last time. So what we can see here is that we have now tapped all these locations. This one is getting, this was Voodoo Initiate, and it's being consumed pretty quickly because it was a 200,000, while the Vitu here, it was 2 million, so it's only just started consuming the corner here. What we have is we have our steel, iron, stone, copper, and coal coming all the way into this one. And this one is not 3 per second because it's military science, and who needs that much military science? Instead, I want this to just keep going, and once it keeps going, I'm just going to be stockpiling it here. And then when we start needing some more science, then this one will easily keep up, because we don't need to. I think it's like maybe a tenth, or maybe 10 or 20% of all the resource. That's military science, probably only 10%. So I don't need to have this producing at the same ratio. I can just have it at a lower ratio and then have it produce to stockpile. What I'm also doing with this one is I'm using this as our production facility for piercing rounds. Probably need more than this as we start going out there and clearing. Let's have a look at the pollution range. It hasn't expanded much, but biters are expanding towards us. We are expanding towards them. It's going to be a disaster very soon, but not now. So that's not something we want to deal with. Also, you can see I'm using some oil from this location to fuel all of it, so I don't use more miners for the coal. I'm just trying to conserve it. And go through here, no power poles were hurt. And what you can see, that something I am in the process of was the stuff I just built in the previous episode. I've already taken it out, and that's going to be sort of a recurring theme, that things will just be gradually better, and then I'll be improving it slightly. The reason why I did that is because let's take that out. I don't have any iron left. Iron is completely run out. So if I look at this area, where can I get iron from? I can only get it from down here, but it's already tapped, so I decided to move it over there, and we're going to take a look at it. What I did decide is that I wanted to have like a more structured build for green circuits. Well, that's actually just the same. 1, 2, 3. Those are for green circuits. And then I decided to build here. This is in preparation for making blue signs. And we need a red circuit build. I like this one. This is actually one of the best ones. Look how close it is to perfect ratio. Also, these are different than usual. That's why you see more copper wire producers than usual. But if you look at it, it is completely perfect ratio. And again, don't want to look at it per minute. And this is only a mediocre 3 per second. So we're going to have to make 2 of these. Just to keep it happy. But okay, let's actually go in here again just to give you a sense of how much it's consuming. 12 plus 12 plus 6, right? So we are really just struggling on keeping up with all the stuff we need to keep up with. But I need another one. I have also prepared some iron and some steel because that's what we need for the blue signs, sorry, which is going to be the next big thing. I have an oil location over here. I mean, I don't want to go over there. It's pretty simple. It just takes petroleum in. Oh, actually, let's go because we have a... Let's go. There is something interesting about this one because we have the first of the bigger facilities. This facility is, well, obviously bigger. So let's look on the inside. It is much bigger on the inside as well. So this is, we'll be using these ones quite a lot. I do really like them. This size, I think it's my preferred size of factory buildings. And again, we're just building a lot of oil, getting oil in and petroleum out, which will then be going into these. And for that, you can see I have replaced here and here. That's been replaced, so now it gets it from the collective one. And we'd have to tap more oil, which is also means that pollution is starting spreading from here. So that's kind of going to be a bit of a problem. Let's head all the way over to our new red signs build, because that's one of the things that you can see that gradually as we move things and I get more comfortable, I will be getting sort of better builds, and I have to move these builds out to where the resources are. That's kind of one of the kinks of this playthrough, and also one of the things I found really interesting. But if we look at this now, you see a much better emergent structure coming in here. They are now on a grid, and if you know me, then you know I like grids. And this will be, it's basically the same things we had before, but I've just placed it in a nice grid and also made sure that we did some balancing, and it's going to be just enough for what we need. At this point, we do have 34 available, so it's not quite enough to tap these and keep all of it running, but it's going to be close-ish. What you can see here about this one is that this one is not enough to keep this fed, but it's okay because I don't need that much green circuits in here, so it's actually not a problem. I did a few calculations. If we look at this, then we have it only needs 3 green circuits per second, so I only need to sort of have half of this build working. If we go in here, then half of this working is going to be still more than enough. So this one can total build 3 there, but that's good. If I feed it 36, then I can get 9 out. I only want to feed it a third, so I put 12 in here. That is excellent. So on this belt, which is 12 in here, then I will have 3 remaining going this way if it's a full belt. And how much do I need in here? I need exactly 3. So it's completely accurately consuming a full copper belt, this build, and then the iron is just filling up all the other things that we need. At this point, yep, let's look at pollution. Pollution is now spreading out quite a lot, and that will be one of the bigger issues that we have to face. As you can see, the base is slowly growing. It's really getting into what I had anticipated, like small clusters here and there. And let's have a look. I really want to show you how we complete the red, green, blue, whatever. It's blue science, chemical science. That's going to be one of the big steps and unlocking sort of the mid game of the build of this. So let's have a look at that before rounding it out. And here we have the next iteration of the base. You can see we've started to get more resources all the way from down here, getting it back in. We started tapping another one, and it's this one is operational. Here you can see that this is working, and it's just sending out red and green science at a pretty decent rate, looking really nice. And of course, we'd like this to be a bit more dense, but that is just the way it is. I'm put 26 in here and 10 in here, and it looks pretty okay. I'm going to start up at this location and it is just for context right here because I need a lot of iron. And this is not my design. This is made by Zephyrhash, and I just made a very, very small adoption of it. So this is one of the things that is really cool about this series, is that I can also just issue sort of challenges for designs, and then next time I can see someone who has made a huge effort into making a really cool design. And so thank you to Zephyrhash for this design. This is really cool, and we now are soon to be starting up a hub so we can replace our original jumpstart base with this one. And yeah, it's gonna be nicer, but again, the issue here is we are at 163 out of 163, so I can do some design work, but I can't hook it up yet because I simply do not have enough miners for it. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna find my way back so we can look at the blue science, because the blue science is the next big thing that we have completed. We have the oops. That was bound to happen, right? The military science is coming in, the red and green is coming in. These are just currently only using red and green science, so that's why that's the only thing that's working. You can see the blue is coming here, and look at that glorious thing. All of this thing is what you need to make the blue science. Isn't that crazy? All of this, just, well, not that one, but all of this part here. All of this is what you need for blue science. It's all meticulously crafted. Also, of course, that doesn't even include the sulfur or the plastic. So this is like a really big build. We get lots of copper in, lots of iron in, and it goes into some steel, iron, iron. These three are going exclusively in for the green circuits. The green circuits are then splitting into these two. And I should, if the whole thing is producing, this will be making 3 red circuits per second each, so it's going to be 6 red circuits per second, and hopefully that's enough. Over on the side I just have a lot of steel and a lot of iron that goes all the way in here in order to make the engines. So this part is for engines, this is for greens, this is for reds, and then we get the sulfur coming out here. The thing that we have to keep in mind is how much iron is actually being consumed for these gears and the pipes. Both of those are twice as expensive as normal, so something as trivial as gear is just suddenly quite expensive in terms of resources. Let's look at the engines here. It takes 8 iron and 1 steel, and 1 steel is 10 iron, so it's actually 18 iron for one engine. That is a lot. And over here again, we have fixed it to the part where I'm saying I want 3 per second like everything else, and it consumes 4.5 red circuits per second, and I am producing 6, so I should have a tiny surplus, which is what I like to have. And here we go, that is the blue science actually producing. The one thing I don't like about this, and could actually maybe correct, was just moving it slightly down and then put a lane balancer in, because it is not lane balanced. I could also just lane balance it out here if I feel so inclined. But that really is the big step, and that's basically what I wanted to show you in this recap. And I'll be of course having another recap on Monday, but which will then bring you up to speed with what I've been streaming and playing this week. So you should be all up to date at this point, pretty much. So you have no excuse for not joining the Twitch streams. Well, I mean, yes, you do. Also, if you can't join or don't want to join the Twitch streams, but you kind of want to see more of this, or you want to play along for something like this, then I do have the VODs over on my secondary channel. There is a link in the description below for the VODs channel, and all of these live streams will be stored as VODs over on that channel, and just so that they are always available. Now, I hope you have enjoyed this catch-up, and just maybe even if you are not watching the Twitch stream or not interested in that, then maybe it will inspire you to do some new designs and some new challenges. I've really enjoyed this series very much, because the combination of the 10 times science, the expensive recipes, the Factorissimo buildings means that I have to think differently, and all things I have more. I can't just rush through the mid game and just say this is good enough, I'll fix it when I have robots, because robots takes a long time to get. So that's gonna be a big challenge. We're just gonna be looking at the situation with resources, with pollution, and as you can see, we are going to be in trouble soon, because they are already inside our pollution range. Maybe also up here they've expanded in, and this is definitely also. So we have still a naked base, no walls at all, no defenses, and I'll just let that be foreshadowing for what might come to pass. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you have questions or comments about the series, then let me know in the comment section below. And you're also, of course, as I said, very welcome to join over on Twitch. It's at twitch.tv/Nilaus. It's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay effective.